It is exactly 17 minutes past 8 p.m., the 22nd of July 2022, and of course 17 days away from the general elections. And we're coming to you live from GBS TV headquarters in Nairobi, and of course we have much more to discuss here on the Insight tonight. As you all know, Insight is about politics, where we discuss political issues. We bring pundits, and of course we tend to educate you, to elucidate issues that of course concern you one-on-one through the eyes of different stakeholders. And in this case we have three political analysts, and of course they are going to help us analyze the issues at hand. Well, in Kenya, 4 presidential running mates battled it out during a 90-minute debate on Tuesday night in a last-minute move to persuade and decided voters ahead of the 9th August national elections with less than 17 days August polls as well. It is only natural that the state of Kenya's electoral agency's preparedness, the IEBC, be called to question. And on your behalf, we're making this happen to you, making you understand the political architecture through this high voltage and deliberate discourse. Of course, we're talking about IEBC and of course even about the deputy presidential debate, all through the eyes of these political analysts. My first analyst is Mr. Samuel Masika. Mr. Samuel Masika is a political analyst joining us here on the Insight tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Masika. Of course, in the middle we have Mr. Tostan Talenga, quite a challenging name, but of course he's our seasoned political analyst, who's also joining us here on the Insight. And quite next to me is Wesonga Mangeni John. Wesonga Mangeni John is a political commentator and a governance expert, also joining us on the show tonight. PDG Masu is on the way, and of course he'll be joining us very, very soon. Well, gentlemen, good evening. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Well, before we talk about the debate and of course the IEBC, it is something when we talk about the freedom is coming. Mm-hmm. Freedom is coming is quite a slogan that is used by every presidential candidate. We have from Ruto to Ejakoya. Raila's used it sometimes. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Maure, but it is quite a slogan that has been used among the presidential candidates. When you talk about freedom is coming, this slogan, freedom is coming, as we know, freedom involves violence. But the question is, what do they mean by freedom is coming? What are Kenyans being emancipated from? Who are Kenyans being emancipated from, actually? Let me start with you, Mr. Samuel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwach, for having us for this debate. I think when politicians use the phrase freedom is coming, it's an expression of what has been happening in the country. It can be used to mean change of regime from one to another, change of status quo, and one of the obvious things that Kenyans are suffering at the moment with the high cost of living, high cost of food products, and everything doesn't seem to be working, and a number of things. I think there's been a break in governance in this country, and so I think most political aspirants who have presented themselves for electoral positions, then they are saying they represent a change from status quo to something different, even as we near the elections. So it is important that they use the phrase so that they show that we are changing from one regime to another, and what do they represent. Okay. And you've seen even the battle on manifestos. So how different is what you're going to do from what has been happening in the country? I think for me that is what freedom is coming means.
Mangeni, let me come to you. We talk about freedom, and of course it's talked about certain things, series of things that Kenyans should be more emancipated from. Do you even think that Kenyans need emancipation? Do they need that freedom? And even those people who are allegedly fighting for freedom, is the fight even genuine itself?
First, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And let me say this. First, we had the first liberation in Kenya, that is in the 60s, when our founding fathers of the nation fought it.
Yes.
Then we came to have in the 90s, early 90s, the second liberation. And now we are calling this a third liberation.
Yes.
And when you call it a third liberation, it's a freedom fight, but it's a freedom because of economic fight. It is now economic issues. We want to be emancipated from economic slavery.
Okay.
We want the country is not working for millions. We are about 50 plus millions. But it seems our country is only working for a few people and the rest of the millions are suffering. So this phrase being used especially for us, for what I know for my presidential candidate, we are using it as a chance for freedom for the many millions of Kenyans, the hustler nation. It's time now they are going to take charge of the economic livelihood in Kenya.
Okay, interesting. Well, to you, Mr. Alenga, well, what do you understand about this freedom that actually is being talked about by the politicians? And do you even think that it is achievable?
I think, first of all, thank you very much for welcoming me on the show, and a good evening to our viewers. So primarily, I would like to state that there is no freedom that we are looking for. It's all a hoax. It's all a formation in the minds of the people to make them look like they are in abject, in desolate conditions, you know. So the real battle that we should be taking to this election, or what we should be making the issue of this election, are very clear issues that we have. Number one, in this country, this is not a poor country. We have an inequitable distribution of resources, inequitable distribution of state opportunities. We have a situation where it no longer benefits you to go to school because for you to now get a job, you need to know so and so.
Okay.
And sometimes we have seen those qualifications that we get in school being wished away for political offices. So it no longer makes sense to be educated in this country. So those are the issues that we should be confronting. We got freedom in 1963, but till now we haven't figured out what to do with that freedom.
Okay, quite interesting. Mr. Lenga, if I can cut you short, because Ruto has actually framed his elections around the slogan of the hustler nation, which actually is aimed at those who are at the bottom of the social pyramid. And of course, he has depicted the elections as a struggle between the hustlers and the dynasties. Do you think this is the real freedom that actually we're talking about? If I just start with you, sir.
That further demystifies my point that there is no freedom we are looking for. But because somebody doesn't want to confront the real issues, he gives you a fake war. So you are all over grappling on this fake war, but that is not really the problem that you have. The problem in this country, if we have people looting our economy blatantly, and this country never collapses. What does it tell you? That this country has money. This country has resources. It's only that those resources are not distributed
so there is no freedom.
There's no freedom.
Social, economic liberation.
Yeah, we should now be figuring out what to do with the freedom that we got.
Masika, I know you really want to talk, but let me give Mangeni first a chance. Tell her before you end it. Mangeni.
No, I don't. My brother, I want to respectfully differ with him. I mean, it is not a hoax or a lie that currently in this country the gap between the rich and the poor continues to grow bigger. It's not a hoax or a lie.
Okay, sure.
That many families right now.
But the question is the election 2022 between hustlers and the
The election 2022 is about economy. It's going to be about who is offering a plan for the many millions of Kenyans who are struggling today to put food on the table.
So the hustlers being emancipated from the dynasty.
Hustlers are going to take over. They are not going to be saved by someone. They are going to save themselves in this election. This election is going to be about the majority poor. So the majority poor are going to take charge. We are not sending away the dynasties or the rich.
That is the hoax.
It's not like we're fighting the rich. It is not a fight against the rich. It is a fight for better life. But it's not against another person, but a fight for a better condition. This is what we are calling for.
Okay.
I would like to say,
Yes.
First of all, my brother Lenga has said that it's a hoax, that there's no freedom we are fighting for, but he goes ahead to say that there is inequitable distribution of resources in the country. That is actually what we are saying. If you do not have resources because it is amassed in the hands of a few, then we are saying this election, we can look at it, how do we redistribute that wealth? If a poor person is able to tap in the opportunities that he's saying, that state opportunities are for the few. So we are saying, in going forward, can we have these opportunities distributed fairly across the country? And so that is why I will still insist, I will not even refer to freedom as in from the colonialist. The current freedom that we need is, let's have the resources within the country redistributed to everybody. Let's have everybody enjoying the resources within the country and opportunities.
But one thing that comes out is that in this freedom there is no physical wars.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, Eugene,
interesting.
taking good care of your citizens, behaving well, being prudent with finances and offices you hold without necessarily looting the country for public gain, that does not require freedom. I mean, in fact, for you to do those things that especially the Jubilee regime has been doing, it means you have freedom.
Okay.
That's why you have freedom to amass wealth.
It's a bit confusing.
There's no struggle here.
Somebody has limited resources, others need the resources.
So just distributing those resources is not a matter of freedom. It's just a matter of being prudent and having good manners. You know, what we need is ethics in this country, not freedom.
We have to get to the core of the issues actually that are discussed here in this debate, in this talk actually, this conversation. And actually, gentlemen, this Tuesday we had the deputy presidential aspirants debating on issues that affect actually the country. Well, not just as a political pundit, but as an active citizen of this country. Starting with you, Mr. John Mangeni. Well, what do you think? What is the outcome of the debate? What do you make of the issues that were discussed and were actually what you wanted discussed actually?
No, first, big up to the media team, because this was a quality debate, and also to the candidates. This was a quality debate. I liked it, and I saw that our politics is growing. Maybe we didn't get so much time to, the candidates didn't get so much time to discuss their manifestos, and maybe the media people concentrated on personality issues to be brought about. But when they brought about, I knew that was a trap. They thought that was a safe haven for the darling of the media in Kenya currently. There's a new candidate, so they thought that was a safe haven for them, and when they went for that, I think that was a big trap for them, because at the end of the evening, while yes, Kenya's got an opportunity to understand their candidates and also to understand the true representation of the candidate, because our candidate, deputy presidential candidate, Rigathi, has always been misrepresented. But that was a big opportunity for him to represent himself officially, which he did 100%.
Yes. So I think the debate was actually, I want to say Rigathi Gachagua pulled a surprise on me. I didn't know he would do that well, and for a longer time, as my brother has said, and even the conversation that we are having in offices, streets, and even in the villages, we expected that Mother Karua would come and make it look like child's play. But for me, it was a great opportunity. Gachagua redeemed himself, and we could see even the polls tilting in favor of Gachagua. Initially, I think people had underrated the ability of this guy, and I really liked it, and I think it was a good debate. Both guys were sober, and they were not tempers flaring, so that was a nice debate. Kudos to the media guys. They were also
actually
sober.
According to what you guys, the two of you were speaking about, or what I'm trying to put out is that it was just a debate between Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua.
It is the debate between the representation of Azimio la Umoja and Kenya Kwanza, and what both parties represent. One is a project, obviously confirmed on the same debate, and another one is the People's Project.
Okay, and because the time is so, let me bring in Mr. Alenga. Alenga, what do you think about Rigathi Gachagua and the debate between Martha Karua? people think that Martha Karua was torn in between defending the president and actually articulating issues for the Azimio.
I think if I belonged or if I supported a presidential candidate that if they are when they are coming out with the public for the first time, I am even scared what they will say until they speak. Then a week later I say, wow, they surprised me. I should be worried about that particular person.
Okay.
So if Rigathi even scares you, even when you are going to the debate, you are holding your breath. You know, you're just wondering, is he going to pour everything today? Are we going to be finished today? But then luckily the angels come upon him and he redeems himself. That should worry you. Actually, that should really, really worry you. But if it doesn't worry you, there are even more other things that doesn't worry Kenya Kwanza, like the plunder that they have taken the country through and the false promises that they give. So back to your question of the debate. The debate highlighted two things. One of the candidates came to debate with his competitor. The other one came to debate with someone who was not on that platform. He came to debate with Uhuru Kenyatta. And for a record, Gachagua mentioned Uhuru Kenyatta by both names. Uhuru Kenyatta 27 times. Kenyatta 17 times. And President Uhuru Kenyatta 34 times. So you can clearly see who Gachagua was debating.
Nothing wrong with that.
So Gachagua was debating the president who was not there. Out of the usual bitterness that is always exhibited by Kenya Kwanza people, I mean that bitterness is inherent and we don't understand where it comes from. We hope a time will come they'll find complete healing. So if you come to the issues that were discussed, I really congratulate Martha Karua for holding and focusing and not even anytime she was tempted to veer off the debate, she stayed firm. And if you watch the debate again, you will realize Martha never looked at Gachagua all through the debate. She looked forward.
Scared. You're scared. I would like to join that. By the way, there is something to correct. Uhuru Kenyatta was present, both in spirit and even in person. Yes, in the persona of Martha Karua.
Okay, quite interesting, but my director tells me that we have to go for a short break, but we are coming back.
We come back with
and make sure we pick it up from there.
But my two against one. So
we're just talking about issues that
I will debunk them.
We're going for a short break, of course. Stay put here at GBS TV Africa. Well, this is the insight, and we have much for you.
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back to The Insight. It is Clash of the Titans. Of course, we are digging deep into the Rigathi versus Karua debate. And of course, 21144 is our SMS line. Kindly continue with the conversation. Of course, we will get to read some of your texts that you send to us. Well, keep in touch. But talking about Rigathi versus Karua debate, which actually took the better part of the conversation after there. Well, what stood so much was about the integrity question, which of course integrity being as well talked about in chapter 6 of the Constitution, leadership and integrity, is something that of course was discussed in the debate, and it was one of the major issues. What actually do you think, was it actually the question of integrity? Was it sufficiently tackled the way you would have wished? Let me start with you, Masika.
Thank you very much for another opportunity to speak. First of all, before I talk about which is technically state capture that you're asking the question about, I would like to say that Rigathi Gachagua was debating Uhuru Kenyatta, who was not on the show, but technically he's the chairman of the Azimio Council. He's the one behind the current presidency of aspirations of Raila Odinga. And that is why Rigathi Gachagua did not see the need to respond directly to Mother Karua and respond directly maybe to Raila Odinga, because as it is, these guys are being pushed by the state. And Mother Karua went ahead to confirm that even in the next government, Uhuru will be performing peripheral duties. I would have wanted her to elaborate what that would mean, but we do not have an opportunity, but hopefully in future we'll get to understand what that means. And I think that is technically what informed the argument by Rigathi Gachagua.
Okay.
Now, back to integrity questions in the country. I think the chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 has been not really, has not been put into practice, because if it did, we'll not be having issues as we have today. But I think I want to borrow from what Mr. Lenga was saying earlier. The problem that we have in this country is people only applying the law selectively. Whatever works for them, that is what is applicable at the moment. And that is what is eating this country, and it's really eating us to the core, and very soon we'll have nothing. When we are discussing integrity for the leaders that we want to elect, people are not taking these things seriously. But again, I want to borrow from what somebody has been saying, that currently the current crop of leaders that we have in the country do not have the moral authority to talk to us about what? Corruption. Because technically when you speak, you should come from a clean pedestal yourself. Right from the president downwards, even as Lenga wants to say that Kenya Kwanza has plundered the country. Don't forget that it's clear, I do not want to really, because I may not substantiate, but it's clear most of the people that are in government today cannot clearly explain the wealth that they have. And that disadvantages the little people down there, or the common mwananchi, because they are not able to access the resources.
Quite interesting.
Yes.
Mr. Samuel says that most leaders or most public servants cannot authenticate or actually say where their property, where the wealth is coming from. And of course I believe that we have quite a substantial number in Kenya Kwanza. I want to ask you, is it quite a coincidence that most people, most top leaders in Kenya Kwanza have been implicated in integrity issues? And you know this?
Tell us. Give him time to tell us.
I don't know where you get your word of substantial. I don't know which study you used to say that the substantial amount are in Kenya Kwanza. But let me tell you this. Kenya Kwanza has promised to fight corruption. And we have proposed a very practical way, which is also the spirit of the Constitution of Kenya. The spirit of the Constitution of Kenya expects our institutions to fight corruption without interference of politicians. Currently, what is happening, why you can come up and start saying maybe in Kenya Kwanza you see people mentioned, is because politicians are pretending to be the policemen. That is what Azimio is expecting, that Martha Karua will be a policewoman. That is what our Constitution says. Our Constitution expects EACC, police service, to judiciary to deal with corruption and integrity issues. That is, Kenya Kwanza has proposed that these institutions will strengthen them and make them work for Kenya. And we have gone further to say, which is happening in South Africa down there. We are going to deal with the grand corruption. Kenya is losing because of grand corruption. And grand corruption is policy corruption, budgeted corruption, which is called state capture. That one we have been open, and as we have found themselves caught in a corner where they don't know what to do. Because when we say state capture, they find that they are the ones.
Okay.
They feel like we are fighting them. They even want us to mention names of people we are going to fight.
Okay.
State capture, we're just going after grand corruption.
Okay.
Return back resources, return back money to the poor. But these, I think even in the debate, Martha Karua and Rigathi, this is the point of convergence. This is the only point where they agreed that corruption, state capture, cannot make us breathe anymore.
Okay.
We must fight it. And we have, Kenya Kwanza is promising to fight it.
Quite interesting, because I don't remember where they agreed. But all in all, let me ask you,
I think you did believe in
the character, well, Uhuru is will still be around and will be given some peripheral duties in the Azimio government, the Azimio coalition government. Of course, must
in opposition, that is. In opposition.
Okay, I don't know, as it may be. But there's also a question about the state capture, which of course Rigathi Gachagua says is the main issue that is affecting Kenyans, is a menace that is affecting Kenyans, and not just corruption. What do you think about state capture? What actually is state capture, and what is corruption? Among the two or both, which is affecting the country?
No, the foundation of the UDA party, it was basically founded on lies and manipulations. So it's very very interesting for somebody to say that Uhuru will have a position in the government of Azimio if in the event that Azimio wins. You know, we've all read the constitution, or I assume we have, but maybe some people haven't read, and we see the system of leadership that Kenya has, and we see the office bearers that we have. You have the president, you have the deputy president, you have the cabinet secretaries, you have the PSAs. So where are you going to fit Uhuru, you know? So this nonsense of Uhuru will stay around through Raila is just something that UDA should move over and find something else to do.
What Martha said?
Now, Martha said, and maybe for the purposes of the viewers, because the UDA guys, the ones who are sitting here, they will not even understand, even if you say it 100 times, but the viewers should understand. Martha said that Uhuru will perform roles as the chairman of the council of Azimio, not the chairman or in the office of the president. So Azimio as a party will exist after the election. And remember, Azimio is a coalition of 26 parties. And those 26 parties have a council. You understand? They have a council. So even if it's like saying if there is a bishop, actually that council even has a bishop. So it's like saying that bishop will now rule Kenya.
Okay.
You know, so we just need to understand things from as simple as they are. You know, I always warn people, look at things as they are, not as you are.
Okay.
You know how crafty the UDA party is and the leadership. So they believe everything will be crafty because we are.
I think you need to answer your question. He's digressing, and I'm not finding objectivity in the conversation.
I am debunking something.
Clearly, he's discussing UDA and how they were formed.
You know what happens?
The greatest mongrel in this country.
Exactly, I am coming to that.
Discuss that.
I am coming to the question that you posed. But you see, you know, Eugene, what happens if you let somebody speak a lie here on this screen, the viewer at home believes that word. So before it goes into their mind to process, we have to debunk it even before it can go to the next level. That is why we are here. So coming back to the question of corruption, and you actually said that integrity was featured mostly in the discussion. In this country, we have people that have gone to school. If you're looking for people with degrees qualified to lead this country as presidents, you will get them in millions. If you're looking for people that have sound mind, you'll get them in millions.
Okay.
But if you're looking for people with integrity, those ones are very few.
Okay.
So ideally, we have to base these debates on integrity.
Okay.
We have to question people on how we know them, because they are not coming from other countries to lead us. They are coming from this country. We know them. We know Ruto has grabbed land. We know so and so has done this. So we question on those things, on those issues of integrity.
Mr. Lenga, on the question of corruption and state capture, do you think this country, the major menace facing it is state capture or corruption?
You know, what is corruption or what is state capture? One is an element of the other. You cannot capture the state if you are not propagating corruption there within.
Okay.
You know, and even for Gachagua himself, he could not describe or describe a term he purports to talk about, because you can't. If you are a witch, you can't come and tell people witches do like this. You will die with that secret. That is why he could not even. He could not define in the presence of Kenyans what state capture is.
Okay.
Be that as it may, Martha help her understand that state capture is repurposing of state resources for the benefit of individuals. If there is someone who has captured this state and has diverted issues of national interest to serve his purposes, who has done that better than Ruto? Who took all the money for Kimwarer Dam and Aror and purposed it to his Ruto, whose son took over the management of KMC, Kenya Meat Commission. I mean, these are things that I've already seen Alenga. What has ideas and we are going to give you an opportunity.
Today, I think he's more something.
We are going to give you an opportunity.
His line of thought.
No, I am coming to your level so you can understand me.
I want to.
We're going to give you an opportunity to tell us what Uhuru has grabbed or what Raila has grabbed. Tell us.
Let me tell you, even on the very same show that they are insisting that Gachagua came with a Mwakenya. What was the Mwakenya? It was a Gazette notice. What was it about? Where the country lost 357 million. So I want to ask Mr. Lenga that question again and let him answer you, because I'm finding there's a lot of double speak today from him, and I've known him to be a man of flow of thoughts. So please ask him the question again.
And when he'll be answering that, because you know, Martha Karua gave us a dictionary explanation of state capture.
Gachagua was giving a layman discussion.
Gachagua talked to Kenyans.
They are now
defining to Kenyans what state capture is, and in practical, my friend, when we were in school, we were being told you answer a question, and you're given 30 marks for that question. Martha Karua would have gotten 2 marks. Gachagua got 28 marks. Let me tell you, Gachagua, Elanga says that we want examples from us. Gachagua brought it there. The NCBA Nick Bank deal, that was pure state capture policy. Policy being used to enrich the rich already. When we talk about many roads currently happening here in this Nairobi, many roads happening here, they have been made with a purpose to enrich the rich. And that is what we are saying in Kenya Kwanza. Let us stop lying that we want to fight corruption if we are not ready to come and bring back companies in Kisumu, in Kisumu back to the people of Kisumu, bring back land here in to Kenyatta University land, back to Kenyatta University, and stop that other rich guy who is next to Kenyatta University from taking what is Kenyatta University's land. So state capture is, as he said, I agree with him that it is, you know, corruption is the name. A state capture is just a child of
Quite interesting. I like us to go to this issue, still on integrity and corruption. Well, Kenya Kwanza, it is to say that they do not have a robust blueprint of fighting against corruption. And it is something that actually...
I would like to respond, Mr. Kwache.
Yes.
And I think William Ruto has been on record 1,000+ times. The executive does not fight corruption. We have state agencies that are constitutionally formed to fight corruption. But where the element of state capture comes in is because the relative of a person in power has been employed in this office or has been given a favor in this office, either in EACC, ODPP, DCI. Those are the agencies that are supposed to fight corruption. Let me tell you clearly, if William Ruto today said he will fight corruption, how will he do it? All we need is goodwill. The person to fight, investigate, and prosecute corruption. Then we are talking about EACC, we are talking about ODPP, and we are talking about the DCI. Empower these agencies, then they investigate and prosecute people, and then the judiciary should also again come in.
What has Kenya Kwanza done to ensure that in the manifesto
they have said
they're going to empower these?
The forthcoming president has said that first of all is going to give autonomy to see these agencies. Some of them are beggars to the executive. That is why they are not able to perform, because their budgets are controlled from the executive. So even any other time they want to do something, then they are choked. They are not able. Let's have independence of institution, the judiciary, the police, the EACC. Some of these institutions are purported to be independent, but surely they have been captured. They are not able to perform as they would otherwise perform. So liberalize them from the state, from the executive. That is what I mean. And let's have separation of powers. Let everybody play their role and see how many people are going to be jailed. But as long as we are fighting corruption from state house, we will never get.
And in fact, to be very practical, there's a judiciary fund proposed in the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza. That's a judiciary fund to liberate the judiciary. And even the Kenya Kwanza has gone ahead and said, we will appoint the judges who are refused appointment by the sitting president. We will do that because that's not our mandate to stop them from being appointed.
Have just been appointed.
No, those are others. We are saying those who the president refused, because he's appointing those he likes. That is what we say, state capture. Stop liking things. The state is not made for individuals. That it should serve only me. It should serve all of us. In Kenya Kwanza manifesto, my friend, even the police independence we have suggested, it is there clearly. So, in fact, the other side is where they just sing the song. Corruption.
What is a bit quite obvious is Azimio is an extension of the current government.
The basic understanding of being here is that my colleagues are listening to answer, not even listening to understand. So sometimes you will say things that actually vindicate you, or continue to tie the rope around your neck. You know, you can never talk about state capture if you come from Kenya Kwanza. Please shy away from that word. Because as we sit here, there is a court ruling that pronounced that the Kenya Airports Authority land that Western Hostel sits on is supposed to be returned to the government. Has it been done? No. So what are the descriptions? Oh my
friend, there's a case
going
on. There's an ongoing case.
You are in a country called Kenya. You're not in Kenya.
This is really
so
amazing.
If you have such vivid examples of state capture, and you can still even have the audacity to throw the word state capture around, please avoid such words. Use other words.
But the same way there's a court case, the same way there's a court case saying that the KUVC, Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University, should be reinstated. But the head of state has refused to do it.
Mr. Kwach,
he resigned. He was not fired.
You
cannot reinstate someone who resigned.
Before we proceed,
on 26th July, actually, this month, 4 presidential candidates, we have Raila Odinga, we had William Ruto, George Wajakoya, George Mauri, are expected to face off in another much anticipated debate. Well, and as you and Kenya Kwanza have given their bare minimums through Mohammed. They say that Hussein Mohammed. They're saying that the debate must be about issues that affect Kenyans, and of course, on the other side, Junet Mohammed says that the debate must be on integrity and corruption. What kind of debate do we foresee?
Thank you, Mr. Kwach. I think on the current affairs, you're missing out on something. Today in Trans Nzoia, Tuoli, Junet, they have said that Raila Odinga will not be coming for the debate. So I don't know whether he will come. On our end, we had said earlier that the Kenya Kwanza deputy and the president will not be appearing on the show because of the outright bias in the media today. So, but eventually we thought through it, and then there was a middle ground, and then now Gachagua came. Even on the forthcoming, because why Hussein Mohammed is asking the media, let's be objective, because one of the things that we are saying here, some of the questions that were asked on the debate, on the deputy president debate, were very peripheral. You know, that's an opportunity for these guys to vent on the manifesto that they have for the country. So Hussein Mohammed is just asking that they let them look. He has even listed a number of things from Kenya Kwanza that the president should be asked to talk about.
Okay.
Because the digression, I think sometimes it causes unnecessary excitement. Even for us, I would want to say the deputy president, the debate did not go really well because they did not get an opportunity to discuss the manifesto. And I don't see the reason why anybody should shy away from that debate. Because when you come to a debate like this one, everybody is asked a question and you respond. You're not actually debating the person next to you. Everybody is looking at the clarity of thought between the two of you. But I foresee a situation where, you know, Raila Odinga cannot debate William Ruto. You can see William Ruto is articulate, fluent, clear, clarity of thought. I'm imagining how he will be taking like 5 minutes just saying one thing. So that is why I think that is already an already lost debate on the side of Azimio la Umoja, because sometimes when you're debating, there are skills that are needed, you know. So that is clearly lacking on their end, and yeah, so that debate, they should really shy away, because I can see them again running other polls that they will pull down again, run polls and pull down again.
Mangeri, what do you foresee? What kind of a debate do you foresee? Are we going even to have a debate?
We are going to have a debate. As I told you, the lie was always that Kenya Kwanza is afraid of accountability, of facing the citizens and talk. But Kenya Kwanza, even in their campaigns, have always been articulating their manifesto, all through. And now when debates come, they have sensed the defeats. Let me tell you, Kenya Kwanza has not asked media not to discuss corruption. They've said, let us discuss. But what we have said, we have said
Mangeri,
Kenya and Kenyans are waiting to listen to many, many issues,
Mangeri,
including integrity and corruption.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, Hussein Mohammed put it clearly that we should not be speaking about other issues, basically about personality. You get it?
Yes.
But how can we talk about, when talking about leadership, of course, integrity is part and parcel of it. And also the personality goes hand when we talk about integrity. How then can we not talk about personality when speaking about
no, you know, because Eugene,
Yes.
there's a lot of rumors
Yes.
and non-factual issues when you start discussing about a person.
Okay.
Oh, that you are...
One more question to you. Actually, you didn't answer this. Is it a coincidence that in Kenya Kwanza there are many leaders who have actually been implicated on issues to do with
No,
assist you.
that question is misleading, because I've told you, have you done a survey of Kenya Kwanza people and found out what you say? Because when you start with Azimio from the chair, let us start taking from Azimio from the chair. Chair of Azimio is currently having cases even in his being even head of state.
Before you give Mr. Lenga,
Yes.
I would like this so that we have just clarity of issues. When you say in Kenya
You
Kwanza,
know, you had actually talked,
in Kenya
then he
Kwanza,
talked,
you will
then
be
it's
given
back
even
to you.
extra time. Make sure you give him extra time to explain himself. So I would like to, so that when you say in Kenya Kwanza there are many corrupt people,
Yes.
what does that mean? Have they been indicted, or is just an
I'm just
allegation?
talking
Are
about
they
the leaders, the
rumors?
president and the deputy presidential candidates.
But many governors that have been coerced to support Raila Odinga are having corrupt. EACC is chasing them each and every day.
Interesting.
No,
So when
the
you
chairman
say-
of Azimio has a case to answer, a lot of case to answer.
Okay.
That is Uhuru Kenyatta.
Okay,
The second
we
chair,
are
the second
degenerating.
chair has a case to answer. The deputy
get back to the
presidential
debate.
Karua
Mr. Lenga,
has
Mr. Lenga.
also a case.
Let's
Mr.
get
Lenga.
back to the debate.
Yes, Mr. Linga.
You know the issue you are actually asking is what do we perceive to transpire on Tuesday when we have the presidential candidates debating. I know one thing is that Kenya Kwanza will not be very comfortable with the set of questions the journalists will ask, and we expect them to, as obviously, to have an outburst. But these are pertinent issues, like I told you. If you look at among the presidential candidates we have, in fact, they are all overqualified to be president. All of them, they are overqualified. But we have to come back to the granular issues, the nitty-gritties, and that is where integrity comes in. Because on the 9th of August, we're going to put this country into the hands of someone. And that man must be a man of integrity, without which we will keep going back. Because today, next year, Kenya will be celebrating 60 years of independence. But 60 years of independence without any gain. And that lack of gain is attributed to poor leadership. We end up every election year, we look at trivial issues, we sweep other issues under the carpet, and then we go for people that can stretch their money bags better, and at the end of the day, we end up with square pegs in round holes. And that is what, if we're not careful, that's where we might find ourselves in August. So it will be very interesting for me particularly, as I'll be watching. I want to hear William Ruto come clear on Weston Hotel. I want him to come clear on Muteshi's land that was grabbed. I want him to come clear on the Kwale land that he says was given as a gift, 2,500 acres. I think I need friends who can also give me 2,500 acres. I want him to come clear on the, I hope he can be asked about the disappearance of ICC witnesses, the murder of Kenei. You know, those are issues we want to hear so that we interrogate this man. If people are lying against him, let him find a platform to exonerate himself before
But that
Kenyans.
is just about Ruto. Now the question is,
Eugene,
what are
Eugene,
the pertinent questions actually?
No, he cannot get away with that.
While you were speaking, I was very quiet.
What are these pertinent
Sometimes
issues,
that is what...
apart from the Ruto issue, what are these other pertinent issues that actually affect the Kenyan lives that we actually have or expect?
You see, Eugene, away from the issue of integrity, we have to extensively discuss accountability. You know, when you tell me that you're going to give agencies that are mandated to fight corruption power and budget and give them space to do their thing without the state mingling in, but again I look at you and I say, wow, you have been in government since 2013. What did you do towards freeing the judiciary? What did you suggest towards making ESCC more robust? What did you suggest in terms of making IEBC better? Even if those suggestions were rejected, where are they? So this time around, now that you're looking for the vote to be the person up there, this is the time you want to tell us now you will do those things, because a man is judged by his actions, and the actions of a man follow him on a day-to-day basis. So today you cannot say I'm going to do this and this and that, but we will ask you, in the sense of accountability. In the sense of accountability, tell us, when you had this position, what did you do? Because I understand, and the Constitution speaks to this lively, that the president and the deputy president are conjoined. They are on the same ticket. They come into office together. So once they come into power together, then they all have an equal understanding of the environment they are ruling or governing. So if there are issues that Mr. Ruto saw from 2013 to 2022, why was he so quiet until today? Then he tells us, now if you elect me, I will go and do this and that. So the question of accountability must be very key in that debate. The question of integrity must be very key in that debate. And then we need to discuss another fundamental issue. What is the problem of Kenya? You know, what is the problem of Kenya?
I'm giving you a chance to rebuttal, but my director tells you have to go for another break. Kindly. I'm going to give you a chance to rebuttal this immediately after the break. Of course, this is the insight. We still have the commentators here. Samuel Masika and John Mangeni are nodding in disagreement. Every word is spoken by Mr. Lenga. Well, let's get to hear from them when we come from this break. 2114 is the SMS line. Keep watching the insight.
I don't
Still on the debate issue, of course, we are looking at it, and of course, through the eyes of different political analysts still on set tonight. Well, PDG Masu is joining us as well. Good evening, Masu.
Good evening, Sir Eugene.
Yes,
tumemaliza mkutano na Azimio Young Turks. So tulishapanga direction ya vijana kuingia katika serikali ya hii taifa. So we are very confident, we are unshaken.
Yes.
I know that there are a lot of viewers who are waiting to hear from me. I'll not discuss our strategy because the enemy is around. Hatuwezi mwaga mtama mahali kuku imejaa. So I'm grateful to be here.
Okay.
And I know that we will properly analyze the reasons why we are not so much interested in going into a mud fight with a pig, because we might get dirty.
Okay, quite interesting. But before the break, actually, Mr. Samuel, you had some issues that, of course, you wanted to rebuttal. What about what Alenga said? But generally, the question is that what are these issues actually that we should expect on the 26th debate, that is the presidential debate amongst the 4 presidential contenders?
Thank you, my brother. I began saying,
yes.
I've always had a lot of respect for Alenga, but today he's failing me.
Say the issues that you want to be in the presidential debate. That's the question
the
from
issues that we want, you have
say it in Swahili.
Communication. As we are talking about youth employment, we're talking about agriculture, we are talking about MSMEs. Those are things that we are saying. When we go for the debate, can we debate those ones? And then today, him is saying that he wants Western land discussed.
Okay, so the question is, what issues do you want discussed?
I've already mentioned the issues in the manifesto.
Okay.
All the presidential candidates are standing for something.
Okay.
They are in the manifesto.
Then
those issues.
Okay.
No, the idea is simple. Who has the plan to liberate the economic slavery that Kenya is in?
Okay.
We, as Kenya Kwanza, we want to use this debate as an opportunity to sell and expound our agenda.
Okay.
Which is wrong.
We have said.
Which is wrong.
A debate, national debate,
No,
is an
it is-
opportunity.
No.
Kenyans.
It is never an
Kenyans
opportunity to sell your political agenda, but it's
So
it's
when
an
did you
opportunity
decide
for
it
you
is
to
wrong?
be interrogated by the public. It has nothing to do with you selling your agenda. The agenda you sell it in the rallies and your
And
manifesto.
when you go out there, and all opinion polls, even recent opinion
Got
polls,
it wrong.
when recent opinion polls are being asked, Kenyans are being asked, what do you want to be the issue?
Okay.
And Kenyans have said
Question.
the issue they want to be discussed.
So we are Ugandans.
The cost of food.
Okay,
Which Kenyans are you counting? Minus us.
Let me now come to Masha. Yes.
First of all, the function of all the sound enhancers that we have on our chests
Yes.
is to make sure that we are heard properly.
Yes.
So we don't even have to shout.
Yes.
Because if you can spend 3 struggling minutes to explain something, it means there's nothing there. Let us go to the main thing. Leadership is entrusted to an individual. That is why we select an individual.
Okay.
Otherwise, we can opt the Switzerland way and select a panel of ladies and gentlemen to run the country.
Okay.
But because we still believe that, like we say, leadership comes from God, and only an individual can be entrusted with that and deliver on it.
Okay.
So what makes the difference? What is the difference? Is it these issues that you've paid some people, like you paid for some degree to be done on swamp draining, some PhD on swamp draining? Do you also pay some people to write an economic strategy, which you will dump like you dumped your PhD in swamp draining, and come to the people to con them for another 10 years? That is the question. So integrity, that is the bottom line. Don't tell us inua mama mboga. No, before that, do you have the capacity to inua mama mboga? Personally, uko na capacity ya kuinua mama mboga. So that is why we start gauging you on that pedestal.
Okay.
Your character as a man. Are you an honest person? What is your track record with honesty? How do you behave when you are given something little to handle? When you are giving the agriculture ministry to handle kidogo ile mahindi kidogo ya Kenya, ulilamba hiyo unga ama did people get it? When you are the deputy president and you are entrusted with the lives of people in your office, and security officers, young men and women, fathers of children in this country, were dying like chicken in your office. Sijui nani alikumwaga hewa ya sumu kwa ofisi ya deputy president. So that is what we are concerned about.
Okay.
We are not concerned about what some experts have written for you. We don't want to listen to that. We have listened to that over and over and over again, and we tell you we are tired. We want you, your character. That's what we want to talk about.
Okay, let me just come to Mr. Masika.
Yes.
So you think the personalities should never be discussed?
It is well, I hope my colleagues from Azimio La Umoja have an influence on the panel, the interviewers on that day. It's okay. You can tell them to bring up those issues.
Okay,
one of the obvious things. Let me finish,
yes.
Lugiango. One of the obvious things that I want us, the reason why we are asking that we be objective in the debate, because it is possible for us. We are complaining that Gachagua deteriorated into discussing individuals instead of focusing on issues, So if we are not going to be objective in the debate, the possibility of us bringing out people, like we are doing today, it will happen on that day. And everybody, no politician in this country, including his own Raila Odinga, I've seen him saying, he's talking about, Nani has a PhD from draining dams somewhere. His own presidential candidate cannot even quantify his academics. And I'm wondering even why they are crucifying other people. Is Raila Odinga educated?
Raila Odinga
is he educated how?
You asked my brother a very clear question.
Which I answered.
Tell us the issues you would like to be confronted on that day.
Did I
but I
answer that?
understand one thing, which I have just understood from their conversations on this bench, is that they don't understand the meaning of a debate. They thought a debate is a platform for you to sell your agenda. That is not so. A debate is a platform. Now you have sold your agenda across the country. Now you come to a debate for Kenyans to now confront you with real questions. If they think you have 7 wives but you are taking care of 3 and not 4, they ask you, we are hearing you have wife number 1 up to 7 but you have abandoned 4 of them. How will you take care of us? So when we come to a debate, it narrows down to the individual. It's like you applying for a job. When you send your application, they look at your CV, your academic papers, they shortlist you. But when you show up for the interview, they ask you individual questions. That what makes you think you are fit for this job? Somebody can even ask you, you are at GBS for 3 months only. What happened? Why did you move from GBS to another company after 3 months only? What was so bad there? So you have to answer those questions.
The crescendo is so sweet. The crescendo is sweet. In fact, let me put this in plain terms. If you are a Kenyan there and you are confused what is happening, this is it. We have a cow, which is the government.
But you told us
this cow has milk.
Shouting.
No, my God blessed me. This cow has milk.
He's the only one with permission
This
to
cow
shout.
has milk. And we are concerned about which milkman should we select to go and milk this cow. So we don't care, Mr. Milkman, if you have a pail. Our concern is your pail clean? Our concern is, are your fingernails clean? Or your fingernails are dirty when you're going to milk? Is your milking coat clean? Can we entrust you to touch the teats of this cow? That is our concern.
Not the essence of a debate. A debate is about individual issues.
Yes, no.
It's all about selling your agenda. The agenda, you will sell it on top of cars.
I think my brothers, they keep lying to themselves, and unfortunate thing is that they believe in their lies. First, he's trying to define, and he's using many examples, and he's getting wrong. He started with wrong definition. He pretends that he owns a dictionary somewhere and he's writing definitions of what's a debate.
Obviously, Kenya Kwanza will focus on you and not the point. We are used to that. So say your point now.
The other one is talking about milk, analogy of milk.
Please say your point.
You know the story of milk right now. Why
give us your own point.
Kenyans are asking in that
debate. Do that until he...
They're afraid of you talking. Allow me to talk.
Your friends and relatives out there are listening to you. They will just see you replicating what happened.
No, listen, just listen.
When we go to take back the debate...
When we go to the analogy of milk, in that debate, I'm interested, very much interested, to be asked, the question to be asked about the milk production and selling in Kenya. Because this is a problem that Kenyans have said in the polls, that there's the milk prices. A farmer is down there being mistreated and given less than 40 shillings, but someone is selling to Kenyans more than 120 shillings. So this person, we want that question, my brothers, you said about the cow. We want that question to be
Eugene, we just want to maybe we just
ask that question.
Maybe we just need to debunk this.
Eugene, that's
on the show,
only 17 days.
in the deputy president's debate, what did Gachagua say is the liter of milk that they are buying from the farmer? He said 40 shillings, right?
Yes.
And then what is the retailer?
120.
No.
Okay. Retailers are buying at 120, more than 120.
They're not buying a liter at 40. Gachagua was wrong, and that's why I wanted you to say that.
Which wrong?
Because Gachagua said, how much is a liter of milk where you buy? No, just tell us where you buy. How much is milk?
120.
It's not.
Because we say
it's not.
A 500 ml, a 500 ml packet is 60 shillings. A liter is 120. What is wrong with that?
If you go to the supermarkets today, if you go to the supermarkets today, let me,
no, they don't know.
For purposes
they don't
of
know.
truth,
They cannot know.
if you go to the supermarket today, the lowest range of milk at 500 ml goes at 50 shillings. There's another one for 51 shillings. The long life is 55 shillings. That is what I buy at. If you buy somewhere else, I don't understand. And then number two, when you want to compare the price of buying milk from the farmer, and you do not want it to have an increase on the price after factoring the value addition, the transportation, everything.
So
how do you want to buy milk at a liter at 40 shillings? Go take it through homogenization, take it through pasteurization, all those procedures, and then you sell it at.
I believe the person who selling the milk will not be on the presidential debate. So kindly let's not talk about the milk issue
you know the problem is, you
is,
think I am talking to you. Me, I'm talking to the viewers.
There's another issue.
You guys are already blocked. Like your minds are already blocked.
There's one final issue that I'd love us to tackle. That is the issue of IEBC, which you know is very consequential in the elections that we're going to have on August 9th. Well, in the recent history, as we all know, questions have been raised about Kenya's ability to provide a free, fair and credible elections. And of course, 2022 elections will benchmark how much progress we are actually making in conducting a free and fair elections. But the question is, even as we are holding these elections, the 2022 elections, the major presidential contenders, how much trust do they have on the IEBC? Let me start with you.
Well, we're in a democracy.
Yes.
And every democracy has its challenges. And one of the challenges is the integrity of the electoral process.
Yes.
That the body that is entrusted with counting and delivering the results to Kenyans can do it in a proper way. And Kenya, we have had our fair share of challenges. So first of all, I want to say that our electoral process is proper. We have a proper electoral process. We have a clear electoral process. But there are challenges because constantly there are individuals who always put themselves in a position to tamper with this process through a lot of means. The other time around, we saw the killing of the ICT director of the IBC just before the election, and we even lost his finger, his thumb. We lost his thumb. He was buried without his thumb. And it shows the level of the effort that some people put into interfering in this process. So we must interrogate the process continuously until the end. And my party leader, Raila Odinga, I'm under the umbrella of Azimio. I'm from Jubilee Party. But Raila Odinga is still termed as my party leader because we are in Azimio 1 Kenya, and Jubilee is part of that. Raila Odinga is constantly questioning the integrity of the body to conduct the election, which is very right within his constitutional right, and that is what we must do, especially as a country with a history of bad elections. So IBC, we will keep them on toes until the final day, and I want to believe that they have the capacity to handle the elections. We will not change that body.
So you believe they have the capacity?
They have the capacity, but we'll interrogate it until the last minute.
Let me start with Masika.
I think from where I stand, IBC is well and capable of running the elections. What we need is to trust them. They are human beings. There can be errors here and there. But all we need to do is to give them maximum support that we can. Even maybe some of us who are participating in elections, maybe as agents, managers of elections, let's give them the support they deserve. Castigating IBC each and every time on top of cars, on podium, campaign podiums, will not make any difference. I think I saw the chairman, that is Chebukati, calling all the presidential aspirants and telling them, in case you have any issue, please come and we consult. So canvassing issues around IBC in political campaigns, for me, it's not a good thing because it just polarizes people against IBC. Me, I have a lot of confidence in IBC. We've asked them to use the register. Initially, they said they would use only the electronic register. But there were impressions that there can be failures. Then they decided, yes, we'll also bring in the manual register. That tells me IBC is willing to play along. They are willing always to have a middle ground with all the contenders. So let's trust them and believe them. And in case there are elements that want to bias the outcome of the the elections, then those are the things that we need to discuss and root out.
As a citizen of this country, how is IBC prepared to conduct this election, and has it given Kenyans enough reason to trust them on this election?
I think, Eugene, if you for your spouse to start thinking that you're cheating on them, there are telltale signs. Maybe they see you so much on phone, and when they are close, you switch off. You do funny things that they start doubting your fidelity to that relationship or marriage. So if IBC as it stands, there is already a few commissions that they have committed that tries to raise eyebrows. People are like, are you, this guy is going to give us a fair election? You know, when you tell people, the law is very clear that the main voter identification model is the electronic, but then the law asks for a complementary system. So you cannot have a complementary of the primary, you know. Like so when you listen to like the interview Chebukati and the CEO had with the media, you saw the questions that were left hanging. Sometimes even Chebukati tells you, I don't know, you know. So when you look at those things and then you factor in the integrity issues that were raised about the company that has been the Smartmatic company and the issues they have had in other elections, meddling with other elections, and then you ask yourself, how different are we? And then if you look at the first batch of electoral material, the way it was brought in a clandestine manner, that somebody didn't even understand what was going on, then you don't even know when the next material is coming in, and then you couple it with the issue of what happened just yesterday. We're told that the technicians who are giving us the system for IEBC are from Greece. Then yesterday you get 3 Venezuelans coming in with IEBC materials, and then you ask yourself, so if we are getting the technology, the BVR technology from Greece, how are we linking now with the Venezuelans? And then number 2, don't we have ICT practitioners within IBC? Why were they recruiting ICT officials from as IBC if they knew this job will be handled by foreigners? And then number 3, which is very crucial, I have never had an election anywhere around the world, and if somebody has had a feeling about it, tell me, where a foreigner is involved in the nitty-gritties of that election, because when you give even a technology in an electoral system, I have done election observation around Africa. There's nowhere where a foreigner is now being termed, like Chebukati terms, hard-working expatriates, experts, you know.
Let me give,
so why would we have ITO guys in Kenya?
What do you think about IBC as an active citizen? Do you think that actually IBC are doing their best to ensure that actually we are going to have unprecedented elections which are not contested?
On this one, I'll want to speak devoid of my political bias.
Yes.
And I'll speak to two groups. First is the IBC, and the second the politicians. To the IBC, I'm asking IBC, this country belongs to all of us. We have trusted you, you're competent men and women.
Okay.
I want you to treat this election as important for the lives of Kenyans.
Okay.
Give Kenyans what they want.
Interesting.
To the political class, it is not possible to be the player and to be the referee. I agree, let us keep them on toss, let us keep on check, let us make sure they are following the rules and procedures as stipulated by the law. But it is not possible to always want to control the referee. This is what will burn this country. You know, this country has gone through a history whereby when we start casting aspersions, you know, when you start calling, when they say that when the hyena wants to eat its children, it starts saying that they smell like a goat. You know, so let us, when we want to destroy this commission, we start what we are saying. I know IBC have tried their best. They have brought in presidential candidates. They have opened the doors for communication and consultations. Even when there was an issue, as he is saying, about registration, identification, registers, it was sorted out. If there's any other issue, let us keep consulting. This country belongs to all of us. It's our country. We have no other country. Let us not behave as if we want to ban it and go. So election will come. After 10th, IBC will have finished, will announce for us. And we'll have to find a way how to continue. So I, as a Kenyan, I will not say that I have 100% trust. What I'm just asking IBC, as competent men and women, do your job. And politicians, as people who have decided they are going to put their lives down there to be interrogated and be voted for, be ready to get 2 votes or get 2,000 votes. Accept what Kenyans will give you. But don't look at the referee as if the referee is playing for you. It's not your coach.
We are coming to the...
But I mean, there's something that has come up.
Of course, as you give also your final remarks.
Yes, I've listened to my brothers talk about the IBC and how some people are talking about the IBC in political rallies or so. Every Kenyan must be given an opportunity to discuss the referee. Because this referee determines whether the person you actually gave your vote is the person you will get as your leader. So we should not be canoodled with funny arguments that we should leave the IBC alone. This is not a referee. In fact, using that term is very unfair. And even that referee, if he's in the pitch, there's always a need to always, as the captain of the team, to put pressure on the referee to be fair. Because like my brother has mentioned, there are gray areas. If it is smelling like a goat, my friend, the hyena has permission to eat it. So you want to eat your children? No. If it's smelling a goat, it is not a child. So we must interrogate the IBC because they are. I'll let that take it. But I think you get the message. If the IBC must run a fair process, then the players must be given a chance to constantly interrogate their integrity and readiness to handle the entire process. Because if a situation arises where the IBC makes a mistake, then that is when problems usually start. In 2007, we had a serious situation where we were focusing on the election and we were not focusing on interrogating the whole entire process and how the ECK was managed. And the result was a very sad tale for our country that we don't want to talk about again.
Masika, it's your time to make your final remarks even as we end this discussion tonight.
Thank you very much. It's always a good opportunity for us to meet and talk to Kenyans and just share our aspirations, our feelings, perceptions towards different leaders. And I would like to urge the young people, the old, the women and the men. You see, choosing Raila Odinga is choosing a continuation of where Uhuru has stopped, because he has said it again and again. So if you want a perpetuation of status quo, choose Raila Odinga. But if you want change, please vote for William Samoei Ruto, who actually is a representation of change of regime, because he was nudged out of the government in 2018 and currently is just opposition in government, and there's opposition also in government. So choose wisely, choose status quo by choosing Raila Odinga and choose change by choosing William Samoei.
Interesting. Mr. Lenga.
Dear Kenyans, when you go to vote on the 9th of August, vote for your MCA, your MP, your governor, your senator, your women rep. But when you come to the presidential vote, take a minute and think about the laptops your children were promised. Take a minute and think about the 6 stadia. Take a minute and think about the 24-hour economy. Take a minute and think about free healthcare for all. And then remember who was very loud on this and judge them accordingly.
Mr. Mangeni.
Oh, thank you. And I'll speak first to the youth in Kenya, and I am asking you, my fellow young people, let us treat this country as our country. Let us not engage in banning this country. Let us interact in politics, but interact, as you've seen in the panel, interact but leave fight outside it. But when it comes to my choices, I want to respect your choices, and I ask you to respect my choice. I will choose freedom, economic freedom, and I'm choosing Dr. William Samoei Ruto because I believe that he is talking to what I need, the economic freedom, the change that many Kenyans, this country must start working for the rest of 55 million Kenyans, not only for 1 million Kenyans. So I'm asking Kenyans, the rest of us, I know even the 1 million will be part of Kenya even after that. I know Dr. Ruto is going to embrace even the rest of the 1 million. We have no problem with them, and Hustler Nation is for all.
Quite interesting. Has been a great discourse, high voltage discourse.
But call us after the presidential debate, my friend.
Well, of course, we'll have.
We know someone will wipe the floor with someone else.
Of course.
So hata kama mzee atakuwa amelegea, tutatreat vizuri.
And I know Masu has a lot.
Yes, there's a lot.
That we would have wanted to say, but of course, time is not on our side. Well, we bring you a series of deliberate and intriguing conversations here on The Insight every Friday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., right? Well, we have had a great discussion here, discussing and articulating on issues that actually affect you, some of them on the issues of the debate, and of course, issue on the IEBC. Does or even do Kenyans have trust on IEBC? Well, these are among some of the questions that we tackle here every Friday, amongst other issues that affect you directly through the eyes of different political pundits and commentators. Well, join us every Friday for that matter. Well, I am Eugene Ochieng-Kwach, and it has been a great discussion. So, see you next Friday.
Thank you.